Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Sudha Live, and I'm your host, Sudha Jamthe. And I am here on our monthly meeting to talk to my learners here. Okay. I'm just double checking to make sure that you can hear me. I'm just going to say we are live. I just added a comment on LinkedIn. Oh, I see people here. Okay, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are my regular students, you know the drill. I'm going to bring you, hello, Pam. Happy to see you. So for those of you who are my regular students, this is our time where you can ask me questions on any of the courses that you're taking from me on here on LinkedIn, or if you're even taking courses outside, it doesn't matter. We are here to talk about the latest, and I'm here to help you on your learning journey. And this week's topic is about AI trends, or even whatever the regular trends that I'm seeing in technology industry. And a lot of it is AI, but I'm going to go back to one of my favorite topic that you will see soon. Um, I'm going to bring you, as you must have seen in the topic, I'm going to demystify a topic called forward deployment engineer. What does that mean for you? And I know you all come from various different roles. So talk to me. Are you seeing a forward deployed engineer who is coming and sitting in your enterprise? What does that look like? Are you a forward deployed engineer? Typically, I have learners who use no code AI. So I'm not sure I'm going to see a forward deployed engineer. Okay, I see LM showed up here. Welcome, LM. Let me welcome LM for a minute. Okay, so today's plan is we're going to talk about trends. I'm going to share a little bit about jobs. I'm going to take any of your questions. We're going to have a fun discussion. And we've been doing this weekly WED as a weekly WED trends with LM Victor. So what we are going to do today is I'm bringing the weekly WED trend segment right here because today's focus is trends. So why do a separate session and why just give you a recording? So you get to engage with us and have a conversation. So I'm going to bring LM Victor on, and we're going to talk about the latest trends, and that's where we're going to talk about forward deployment engineers. What does that mean for you? I'm seeing a couple more trends, so I'm going to bring that. And like Pam did, if you are here, I see just numbers when I see this on LinkedIn. If you're seeing this on YouTube, I'm not going to comment there because I'm focused on just looking at the live stream here on LinkedIn. And so if you want, the best way to engage or get more value would be to introduce yourself, because there are smart, brilliant engineers, product designers, product managers, business owners, entrepreneurs, policy people, even some lawyers and accountants, marketing people among my students. So you will get a lot from just, meeting others in the chat here. And you can always, ask a question or comment. Okay. So back to my question, how many of you have heard the word forward deployed engineer? Yes or no, you can say. And are you seeing that word pop up at work? Whether you're asked to do it or whether you're asked to entertain a forward deployed engineer, are you seeing that terminology in your world? Just give me a yes or no or anything related to that. If you want me to go delve deeper, I'm here to answer. Okay, so I'm going to bring LM. LM, are you ready? Then you can go off mute anytime when you're ready, and I will bring you on air, and I would like to see you on camera. Okay. Awesome. Are you able to come on camera, Ella? Perfect. Okay.
Hi, Sudha. Can you see me?
1 second. I'm going to bring you here to the frame and add a pin. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful lighting. I struggled with my lighting this morning because I have a window here and I have like light coming, like making one half of my my
Oh.
face so bright. Light so should be in front of us, right?
You look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you. So awesome. So we are going to talk about our weekly web trends. So why don't you tell us what is weekly web trends and introduce yourself? I'm going to remove myself from the frame so people can see you. Where?
Okay.
Wait a minute, I can't see you. I think yes, now I can see you.
Okay.
Okay. Introduce yourself. Tell us about what is this weekly web trends, and then we'll continue.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. My name is Ellen Victor, and I'm the content manager for Business School of AI. First of all, I want to appreciate Sudha for giving us this platform, this opportunity to learn together as a community. Whenever we come here, we mostly exchange ideas, we ask questions, we get to pull from Suda's knowledge bank, and it's always very, very exciting. It's always an exciting period. Uh, Weekly Word Trend is from Weekly Word itself. Like Suda was giving some background introduction concerning Weekly Word before. It's more of an aspect of Weekly Word that we basically talk about things that are moving in the market, things that we look at. Okay, is this a hype? Is it worth it? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your attention? So it's basically that when it comes to weekly word trends. And I wonder if you are joining us for the very first time, maybe you've not joined weekly word before. Weekly Word is Suda's community where we normally invite experts to talk on particular topics regarding the industry, AI, marketing, finance, ethics. You can mention, we normally bring speakers from all regions to speak to us concerning these areas. And today we are discussing forward deployment engineer. So that's basically it concerning introduction, Suda.
Okay, so thank you for like singing my praise. So I was off camera so people can't see me blushing. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Elam. And I just love my community. I just appreciate that people taking the time to come and engage with us. And I want to introduce Elam. And Elam loves our community and he talks a lot about our community because he is our lead here in my learner community, Business School of AI. He's our creative lead, he's our community lead, and he spends all his time thinking about you guys, right? So it's like, who are our learners and what new courses are they taking? Oh, there is a new AGI course. That is the same person who's taking the no code Gen AI course taking that. But then we are seeing, a lot of people coming from the agent AI course. So he's always thinking about, do we have something for everyone? And I'm not going to go back to our site or show anything as a distraction because I want to continue on the weekly web trends here. But you can go to businessschoolofai.com and you can see our learner community. We have showcased 100 people. If you want to be part of it, you can just get yourself added. And it'll all go to Elam and he'll make sure it's added in a pretty way. And we want to make sure you know who are the other people so that you can benefit from their expertise and collaborate to the extent you're comfortable, right? And we usually host weekly wed, and I want to resume that back. It's on Zoom. We don't live stream here on LinkedIn like we do this one. So the live is live stream. So I don't know which of my students are going to show up. I see some of them who are repeat students who come back, but based on the topic, we get different people. So with the weekly wed trends, we are focusing on what is the latest trend. Yelam. So
Yeah.
why this topic? Today's topic on weekly web trends is forward deployed engineer. And I was asking a question here of our learners because it's a technical topic. In fact, I was talking to someone from LinkedIn just this morning, and they were talking about how they have a course on forward deployed engineer, which is great because for those of you who want to learn that, we will share that as a resource. And it's a technical topic because it's for an engineer's role changing with Gen AI. The focus has shifted from models to vibe coding. So you and I covered this in Weekly Web Trends last time on what is vibe coding. Is it the same as no code AI? Short answer, it's not. So it's the same thing. We are kind of continuing on. Demystifying buzz is one thing I do. I just like popping that.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, what is this topic? Why are you interested in it? What do you want me to talk about?
Okay, I'm interested in it first because when I first came across someone talking about it, I actually felt it was a new role that was created out of the urgency or the need for AI managers, and I thought maybe okay, probably came this year. But when I was making a little bit of research, I found out that it had been in existence since 2005. I mean, the rule has been existing since 2005, but I think people are kind of catching up on it right now. And that's because it's kind of bridges between customers and manufacturers or business executives. Because one of the things that is causing a lot of buzz is AI, and people are having issues deploying their AI in different companies. So what FDE or forward deployed engineers do is basically they bridge that gap. They build customized solutions using AI for each brand or for each company. So that kind of reduces the long hurdle of trying to get maybe a solutions architect. But people are not being concerned, okay, this new role, does it replace the traditional engineers? Does it replace a typical software engineer? So that kind of made me curious to want to know more about it. That was why I'm here.
Okay. I'm losing you. I cannot see your, I cannot hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I just lost you for a minute.
Okay.
Okay. But I
Should I
got the
repeat myself?
no, I got the point that you were talking about forward deployed engineer coming as like the term is much older. So
Yeah.
I yeah, I believe it exists in consulting companies. So do you want to know why it is a buzz now? What is your question for me?
Yes, that was my first question because I know for a certain that many roles, many companies actually are tilting towards an FDE, like forward deployed engineer, and I many people are asking in the communities that I belong and forums that okay, why now? Does it replace traditional engineers, software engineers? Does it replace them, or it's more of a new role entirely? And also, what are the necessary technical skills required to be a forward deployed engineer based on your own experience and exposure?
Okay. Like you said, the word forward deployed engineer as a job role has existed for some years, mainly in consulting companies. Okay. And
Yeah.
what I will do is I will tell you what is a forward deployed engineer. And since I believe we have a lot of people who are product managers, we have a new person. Let me see what kind of job roles people are saying they are in systems engineer. Um, Okay. So I want to focus on this as a trend and why is it come? What does it mean for you? Whatever job role you play. That's kind of how I'm
Mhm.
going to approach it. And if I see any specific question from anyone, I'm happy to answer that. So
Okay.
uh, I always do that in all my courses, whether you're taking an AIoT course or learning basic AI or agent AI, or, whether it's if you're new to AI or you come from IoT or you're learning Edge AI, whatever technology area that I cover in my courses, my number one advice is for you to think about what is the business problem I want to solve. In fact, I've done a session about how do you think about how to get started. Should you go pick a technology and get involved, or
Mhm.
should you get a industry area and see what your industry is doing and focus on that, or should you be focusing on a specific problem? And all three are good paths, right? But the starting point should always be to do something useful, because technology is always vast and it can be put for good and bad use. That's why we have a lot of AI ethics content in all our courses. And I also have covered AI ethics courses. So coming back to forward deployed engineers, traditionally, uh, though you might think it's all technology, industry-wise, there's a set of companies who are technology companies who are building fundamental technology. So they are actually innovating and saying, and they're even cannibalizing themselves. They don't want to be cannibalized by their competition. So they're kind of innovating ahead. And that's the role of the software engineer traditionally for like at least a couple decades. And they come up with new things and they say, okay, who could use this? What could we do with this? And then there are technologists who love technology in enterprise, in various industries, in functional roles like HR or legal or accounting, or it could be full silos of industries like manufacturing, mining, finance, healthcare. Healthcare is a top industry now that is deploying AI. And there have been a lot of hype on industries that has nothing to do with AI, with claims on AI can go generate movies for us. I don't know a single person who wants to stop seeing real movies and go watch what is called as AI slop. But we have reached a place where instead of engineers building fundamental technology available as platforms and API, and
Mm-hmm.
enterprise companies, innovators, and most of our learners are also in that innovator space, right? They are doing a
Yeah.
job, they bring functional knowledge, saying, okay, now how can I make this technology work? So they're the customers. So they run pilots, they fund the technology companies, they buy these technologies, they make build versus buy decisions. And then the consulting companies are in the middle, or system integrators, or independent software vendors, they're called, are in the middle, and they are basically always playing with these new technologies and saying, hey, how do we solve this problem? So they work, or they're embedded in the domain knowledge companies, which are enterprise companies. So that's the historic scene. The thing changed with AI, where the engineers can't build something out of the blue because AI is built by training with data. So they start software engineering role change to building AI models by using data. So they get some training data and they build the AI, and then they go back to the enterprise customers and say, is this something that you can use for healthcare? Is this something you can use for financial trading and for various industries, right? And the companies bring their knowledge and they say, this, let me put my data and check whether this works for me. This is not good. So in machine learning, when we were learning machine learning a few years back, there's this concept of feature engineering, where this data owners, system owners, system analyst, or product owners on the enterprise side will use their knowledge to do feature engineering of the data and model the AI. So the AI went through this whole cycle of, it will be trained by the engineers in technology industry, iterated, tested by their product managers and several teams. And then when it is ready, it will be available as an API. It will be now piloted by enterprise, putting their data, doing the modeling, which is the next round training. Then they build products on top of it. So that has been the second wave once AI came in. The third wave is when Gen AI came in, and technology companies said, let us take the world of data, whether we own it or not. I'm not even talking about that angle, but they took data from the internet. They took all possible data that is available out there and said, huge volume of data, and we're building foundation models. And so then they made that available. And they said, now we have a model, it's available as an API. It is going to cost you to use the model. It's going to cost you to run the model. It's going to cost you compute time to build it. It is going to cost you token cost when your customers use it. You talk with every chatbot which is out there. It's going to burn some forest, but it's also going to cost the company. So we kind of got ourselves into this place, and the company said, no, 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 we are going to make better models, better models. So they got a disconnect from the actual customers because they were not understanding the workflow of customers and refining to the customers. They were putting all their energy to build better and better models. For a short
Yeah.
while, the direction was towards building AGI and then reasoning models. So I have taught this in my Gen AI using no code course here on LinkedIn. So LM, after this, if you can actually add a link for that for people who have not seen it, you can put that,
Yeah.
out here in the chat. But I have talked, and even in LinkedIn right here, in our newsletter, I talked about what are reasoning models, what does that mean, what are the differences and stuff like this. So that was the phase we were going through. And there was a disconnect. The forward deployed engineers in consulting companies were still doing their job of making that connection between here's the technology, now how do you deploy this in a forward direction towards solving a real problem. That's where the forward deployed engineer term came from. So now recently, I saw it first from Amazon. I know that this was there in many companies, but the big announcement came from Amazon saying, "Hey," because Amazon is one of those companies which does not build fundamental technology without data from the customers, without engaging with customers. So when I work on autonomous vehicles, I see Amazon out there, Amazon Auto, and I know people from Amazon Auto who are working on technology, but they are building that in partnership with automotive customers. So Amazon is one of those companies where the product managers are so in tune with their customers to whatever segment of customer that they're working on. So Amazon came and said, "Oh, we are going to actually set aside $1 billion with the B for forward deployment engineering, right? Forward deployed engineers." And I saw a whole bunch of my students who are working in that change their LinkedIn profile to say I'm a forward deployed engineer. And there's a lot of different engineers who are now asked to, hey, you're building technology, but why don't you, and AI, why don't you go understand what it's going to do for our customers? So go embed yourself in some company. So the new, and then once Amazon did this, few more other model companies basically said, we are also going to do that. We are setting aside money. Microsoft has not created a division. It's a division, but it's not, it looks like it's a separate company. It's not, and focused on forward deployed engineers. So technology companies are now saying, to the engineers, you're going to be forward deployed engineers, you're going to be embedded in an enterprise company. So the term today, forward deployed engineer, that's getting buzz, is basically an engineer from technology company who is going to be embedded inside an enterprise AI company. That's the definition of a forward deployed engineer. And for the purpose of our learners, I always, whenever I talk about a technology, even when I talk about the ethics of it,
Yeah.
nothing is done by one person or one team or one role.
That's true.
Bless you.
That's true.
Thanks.
That's
So
true.
it goes through a whole set of people coming together, bringing their expertise. So that's what I always tell our learners, that you could be a designer, you could be a data owner, you could be a analyst, you could be bringing business acumen on managing manufacturing processes, right? You could, I know I have students who are like so intimately aware of the nitty-gritties of their business, of what moves the needle, what is right and what is wrong, from various different business units. Or what works for one region might not work for another region. They're very aware of the customers and behavior of that particular region. And all that knowledge is what becomes data to feed the AI to do the modeling when it was machine learning. And the same data should be used, their same knowledge should be used to build the right application. So that is where there was the disconnect. The business acumen of my learners was not tapped, and they were asked to say, oh, go try this model versus that model, which is better. So I have lessons in the Gen AI course on, should you go with an open source model or a closed model? And I tell them, don't worry about it. Think about what is good for your business. What are you doing? Because there are some companies which made, like Mistral made open source model, but then,
Yeah.
then they branched out and made a commercial division, which had another version of the model, which was closed. So so for a little while, I think it was a lot of jargons and hype about uh, how do we get to real value. because what we lost focus on is we lost focus on creating value. Technology's purpose is to create value, to empower people. That means
Yeah.
people need to make a choice to get empowered in a way they want it, right? And we get a diverse set of roles, different people from different customer segments, from different regions, each looking at it. I mean, like, think about Google search. When Google search came about, it democratized access to information, and people could see that it helped them, right? At the same
Yeah.
time, Google was saying, oh, we are going to get all the information of the world and have it ready for you. And I remember at that time, Google had a project called Google Books, where they said, we are going to take all the books of the world and digitize it. And there were people who were happy because there were rare books that they could get access to digitally. But the way Google went about was not to go find permissions. There's a whole industry, and writing book, being I'm an author with 8 books, so I know how much research time goes into it, how much brain power goes into it. And the writing act, even if you have knowledge, how many people out there, I encourage a lot of my own learners saying, hey, you should be writing a book. But writing the book itself is artistic endeavor, because you have to think about your readers and write it in a way that you can communicate with them. So, and there's a whole publishing industry and business model that goes with it, right? And what Google did is they said, oh, we're going to take all
Yeah.
the books, we're just going to digitize them. So there was some outcry on, you cannot do that, you are a technology provider. So that conflict has stayed with technology industry to enterprise industry to consumers, and technology going good and bad. At that time, Google had in their motto that they do no evil. I think they removed it from their mission statement for whatever reason, unfortunately. But the coming back, we were building software. Technology industry was building software. Enterprise industry was bringing their acumen to, and that match was creating value. And then with AI, the training was done by data. So the AI models were created by technology industry with data scientists. And then we had ML engineers who would work on the models to go, productize that. And the role of product manager has been very key. And I know a lot of you here are product managers, either on the enterprise side or on technology side. And I've done several sessions on what is the role of the product manager, and the role of the product manager inside technology industry or a technology building enterprise industry is different. But at the end of the day, they're called the CEO. Product managers are called CEO of the customer, because they are representing the customer and bringing it back, translating the technology and the customer need. So they're kind of working with various different roles together. So the role of product manager has been shifting through this, right? They had to become more and more data savvy. So remember that one thing I said at the start, we will talk trends today, and I will demystify forward deployed engineer terminology. In a minute, I'm going to talk to you about how is that relevant and what does it mean for you if you are in enterprise AI world, right? But I also want to talk about the shifting role of product managers and what does that mean. So traditionally, a product manager understands the customer need, and the product manager works with the engineer. So there's a data scientist and engineer. So as it became more AI product management, the product managers had to become more data savvy, and they had to use data as the language. They still had to talk to the engineers about the model. And so that has been shifting. And now when they lost focus on actually solving customer problems, what were product managers doing? They were productizing the models. There were chatbots. There's vibe coding with the chatbots. They're trying to figure out what is the right API to launch. So the product manager role has changed to a whole platform product management role over the years, right? And they
Yeah.
were there was a disconnect to actually helping real customers. While the product managers in enterprise are saying, okay, we are testing this out. This version of API, this version of the model, and this model is better than that model. And they're trying to do all that, and it's not getting towards solving customer problems. I mean, there have been smaller wins, but not at the scale it should happen for the investment needed, right? And meanwhile, the valuation of the technology companies has been purely based on, hey, we are creating a new model, and that is where, it is going to do something amazing, right? That the promise is what the valuation has been. Now it is time to uh, bring that promise to life, to make that a reality. And so they're realizing, technology companies are realizing, we've done enough work on the models. We cannot extend the model to do what it should be doing, or maybe we need to extend our APIs to create some middleware layer. And it might not just come from the technology companies. There might be new startups that should be doing that, right? Understanding the workflows. And there are some startups who started out with agent AI saying, we are going to build agents and we're going to build automation. And so there's been that layer of technology, but everything has been technology, more technology, more technology. Now there's a big chasm to cross to get to real customers. And everybody here who is in the enterprise world, if you hear the word forward deployment engineer, it means a forward deployment engineer is going to come with one of these system integrator companies saying, hey, we're going to embed the forward deployed engineer in your company. What does that mean? If you are in automotive, if you're in manufacturing, if you're in healthcare, and you're running your business, you understand your data, you're saying, oh, technology could automate things a little bit, right? And there could be value. You have to see, where are you investing your money, right? And so, and what data does this forward deployment engineer need? So Yashashwini Vishwanath, who is a regular speaker at Weekly Wed, she was chatting with me about this, and she put this very eloquently, saying forward deployment engineer is called the engineer term, but it's a two-way knowledge transfer. So the knowledge transfer from the engineer on what this model can do, and from the enterprise AI PM or the data owner or the business owner who's sponsoring them inside the companies, saying, I'm going to give you my business acumen, business knowledge on what I want. Earlier, it used to be, okay, there's requirements from the customer, and then they are building. But the engineer who's sitting in technology industry would be building fundamental tech. They would not be talking. There will be sales engineers. There will be different kind of job roles who would be interacting with the customers. So that bridge is what is the forward deployment engineer role is doing. So I would like to ask people if they've seen it or be on a lookout. Yes, thank you for tagging Yash for me here, LM. And looks like you also added the Gen AI course here. If people want after this, we can share like a version so that it's free access for them instead of just the link for the course. So if they don't have access to LinkedIn Premium, they'll
Okay.
be able to look at that. We'll do that at the end of this. Yeah. Now I want to pause. So what we have
Okay.
done so far is we've talked about a trend called forward deployed engineer. We've talked about how AI has been built by data, and with Gen AI, it's kind of created a disconnect from solving real problems, or the process to solve real problems has been harder with the disconnect. And now with forward deployed engineers being embedded in enterprise means that it's a call for you, that there could be pilots, that there could be, scope of how your job interacts with their job. And so think about it and see how you can utilize this. I believe because there's a disconnect from the focus on models to actually building technology that will aid building applications. So there is a shift happening towards that, so that we need that collaboration on both sides. So now one other topic that I promised was the role of the product manager. So the product manager is the CEO of the customer, and the product manager knows the customer. So what has happened is there are going to be product managers or product roles in enterprise, and they want to improve customer experience. Let me give you an example. We had a speaker at Weekly Wed, pre-Gen AI, before when chatbots were made with NLP. And she was talking about, from an automotive company, how they were using chatbots. And today that is kind of common practice, where chatbots are possible, right? So there are companies who are building chatbots for customer service, and it's maxed out. It needs to add support for various languages, understanding customers better, but it's created value. I will not deny that, right? But what she was talking about is, she said we could build an enterprise internal chatbot for our dealers. So when they are talking to customers and they want to find, is this inventory of this car available? And somebody is buying a car, and they said, I want a green color one and I want it to have sunroof. Then they have to look into their inventory and see whether that exists nearby in their region. And that inventory system is some database that has their information, which is sitting somewhere. In olden times, they might do a call, they might do an email, or they might get out of talking to the customer and go access a SAP system or some other database system, right? Instead, this speaker, she had built a chatbot interface for the dealer to chat and connect back to the inventory system. So it's almost like a chat that converts to a search that goes to their data inventory system, picks that information, comes back and gives it to you. That is what evolved from Gen AI to chatbots that were using RAG, which is the internal data source that you were using, that evolved over time. But I wanted to give you this as an example that the start, when we were talking about RAG and fine tuning, it started from, hey, I have this chatbot, a building ability in this model. Oh, it is using world data, and the enterprise wants to protect the data. So now we will build a RAG system. So it evolved like that. Whereas when the example I'm giving, it started from, hey, how will I make my dealers get access to inventory so that they can close the sale, delight the customer quickly? We have that information in some inventory system, and the dealer has to go and search. The dealers need to be trained on using that system. Instead, what if I could create a chat interface that could magically connect on the back end, which is the same thing? So if our deployment engineer today might be able to come up with something like this, but they need to understand who are the customers, what are their needs. So if you are not in the automotive space and on the business side, you might think about it as, I drive a car, I'm a customer, I want this car, this color. You can think about it from your use as a customer, and you cannot be a customer for everything. That is what happened when technology companies started building technology, and it started um, going towards the whole world, right? It started permeating every areas, every industry, and they cannot be a customer. They cannot emulate the reality of a customer of all race, all segment of age and race and genders. And so that's where the disconnect happened, and it was cozy easier to just keep building better math models than dealing with the customer. So now they are dealing with the customer. That's a joyful experience for people who are my learners, who have the business knowledge, who love their customers, have knowledge on where they can create value for their customers. Okay, I'm going to see if there are any more questions. So I have not talked about the role of the product manager yet, or how this impacts the role of the product manager, but I have a question. So I've told you how it will affect you if you're in enterprise AI. If you're an enterprise company, you're going to have a forward deployment engineer who wants to come and embed themselves and be part of your organization. And here's a role for you, right? Here's a opportunity for you to create real value for your customers. So I have a question for you. Is there anyone here? I just see you guys as numbers, so you'll have to answer if you want to engage. So I have a question for you. Is there anybody who is not a forward deployed engineer? Is there anybody who's a product manager right here? Any kind of product manager? Because I want to talk about the role of the product manager, but I also want to see whether there is a product manager out here who is one of us, who can just say if you're a product manager here. Yes or no is all I want to know right now. Yeah. And I'm going to show you something interesting, because I'm seeing a trend which you will not believe is happening. Okay. So no PMs here. Any PMs here? Okay, so I just added a comment. So if you come and see this later, if you're a product manager, please add a comment. If you're seeing your job role change or you have questions for me, I'll just come back. Typically, I just follow up because I get notifications for a few days from this live for a bit. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the role of the PM, how it is getting affected by this forward deployed engineer thing. And then I'm going to switch out of this topic and I'm going to close this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just checking questions or anybody with the PM role. So product manager represents the customer and the engineers have been building fundamental technology. So now when the engineer is called a forward deployed engineer and they're supposed to understand the customer by sitting embedded with them, first of all, they are expected to have different kind of customer management skills, communication, managing expectations. It's not just like you put an engineer and they will understand what the customer needs are. Communicating with the customer, it's like their focus is on the business, its focus is on value. If the engineers don't have a clue of what is value creation in an enterprise setting, what are the different data, the silos of different data and access control that is within enterprise, they're going to get educated on all that, which is beautiful. But when it comes to actually developing the user story and saying this is the product we have to build, or to even sketch out these are the features we need to build into this middleware layer so that this model can now work for an accounting industry or it can work for manufacturing industry, that has to come from a product manager. So if you have taken my AGI course, I talk about what is AGI at a fundamental level. Is about running AI on inference on the device. And I give you 3 examples for 3 different AI, so you can learn this in a hands-on way. But deploying Edge AI, making sure Edge AI use cases cater to various industries is an example I give you. But if you work in the field, you will be able to relate to that. If you're not working with Edge AI devices, you can't even imagine what those use cases are. And so that is what happens with people who don't have the workflow knowledge of the enterprise or the business acumen of that space. So product managers used to be the bridge between the business side and the engineers. And so now if the engineer is going to be embedded, so I believe the independent software vendors or the system integrators are going to play that role to be that bridge to do the translation. But product manager is the one who used to say, okay, engineers, you're going to build, let me help you figure out what are the feature set that we need, and let us discuss this and prioritize this and based on the customer input. So they kind of were that bridge with the knowledge of the customers. So the role of the forward deployed engineer is kind of pulling them to do a little bit of the PM job. I see a conflict with the PM essentially in this exercise, which is sometimes conflict is good, but I think in this case, I do not believe it's healthy, because then it's going to give them knowledge about the customer's need, which they are missing, but it's going to take away from their core job, from building fundamental technology, innovating ferociously as they were doing, and with the aid of the PM. So I've seen like many of my learners here who are on the business side have to articulate what is the business value they bring. What does business acumen means? That knowing their customer so intimately that they know all the different use cases that's possible in a world with devices, in the world with healthcare data. The person who is sitting and working all their life in healthcare would know healthcare data, and they would know which healthcare data is HIPAA compliant, what kind of use cases make sense within the process flow of a healthcare system between the insurance companies and the hospitals and the consumers and the various systems they have in place. What are the needs, right? That they would know. Whereas a product manager will be able to understand that and translate that to features. Now the forward deployed engineer is going to sit in healthcare, listen to all this and say, okay, what technology am I building? So there is a little tension there. I don't know which direction it's going to go. It's good for the forward deployed engineers to not just be talking to AI and running compute without any focus on customers. That is a good direction. but I do not believe the role of the product manager is going to go away. So I believe the product manager has to adapt to this role instead of the regular engineer who evolved to be the machine learning engineer. Now they're forward deployed engineers. Now the PM role is still the same. Delight the customer, understand the customer need, be a bridge between engineering and the customer, but they just need to adapt to this forward deployed engineer role. And similarly, there are going to be PM roles on the enterprise side. So if you have an embedded forward deployed engineer, it's an opportunity. Think of this now, this person who knows the knowledge about their models and technology of this vendor is now at your premise. Now you have to make a build versus buy decision. And what does that mean? And what kind of knowledge can you get from them? What kind of knowledge can you facilitate for your business partner to share, and that becomes a role. So I think a PM role is going to evolve. It's a very important role always, and it's again back in a change mode. So that is what I wanted to share about this. Now I'm going to switch topics, and I'm going to show you another trend I'm seeing. Okay, LM, do you have any more questions, or I want to wrap up this weekly wed trend segment, because I want to show something, another trend that I'm seeing outside of the topic that we've been discussing out here. And can you tell people how they can join the weekly wed, so that in 2 weeks we want to come up with another weekly wed? They can just join the Zoom link. Can you show where it is so that they can just join if
Sure.
they're, yeah. And you can add that. I think if they come straight from Business School of AI, they can get there, but I want you to share the link. So for those of you, I'm not going to share the link because I want to continue our conversation, because I want to talk about another trend and I want to show you some jobs before we wrap up. We have only 8 minutes left. So you can go to Business School of AI and then you'll see weekly wed. And LM, please, can you share that link if you don't mind?
All right.
Out here in the chat. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time and being part of Sudha Live today. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to continue on. So we had a discussion about DEI, and we are seeing less DEI, and and I'm one of those people who has been focused on research related to AI inclusion, and so it would have been surprising for you to hear, oh, that's not a trend anymore. That is not happening, right? Let me hold on first. Can you share that link if you don't mind? Oh my God.
All right.
I'm sorry. I wanted to show you another video, and I got my own live that I'm watching for you guys right here.
Thanks.
Out of mute. Every time I go to that window, it gets out of mute. There is a opportunity for LinkedIn to improve this live product. There's a call for LinkedIn product manager working on live, that it should not come back on mute. When somebody is streaming already, if they're reloading their page, it should not, they should have the option to have audio on or off. Okay. So the window I was opening, let me go back to that. Let me see, I have too many windows. Every window is talking. It's weird for me because I hear my own voice talking. And I'm not a person who's just shy of my own, hearing my own voice. But when I'm in live mode, having my own voice come up 10 times is not fun. Okay, so where is the link, guys, that I was trying to get to you? Okay, let me put that here. So one of the trends I'm seeing is there are a whole bunch of influencers who are in the diversity space, right? Braille. So there are a lot of people who are in the diversity space who are talking about the need for adding support for disability in all the products. And it was done in the past with website design. It was done when we were building products, right? Technology products. And so now with AI, when we started building products, they said, okay, we are going to get access to data, and then we are building products. As long as the front end building of the product was done by UX designers, they were still aware of how to provide support for ASL support for, or any sign language support, or even in LinkedIn, you can have things read out to you. But so there is a whole language called Braille that visually impaired people use. They don't want to keep hearing things. They don't want everything read out to them all the time, because they've learned a language. They know to read. They read books. They write books. Then there's a whole different world. And recently I found out ChatGPT does not understand Braille. It says it understands Braille. You chat with it, it says, yeah, it will actually produce some output. But it starts complaining, saying, if there have been solutions, adding some kind of IoT to make it do that. But let me show you what I wanted to show you in terms of the video. Give me a minute. I don't want to close out our window here. Yes. Thank you, LM, for sharing this weekly WED. Oh, you added our newsletter link. Thank you. Do you think, LM, we should just give the weekly WED link? Because that I want people to just come to weekly WED so that they can hear that, right? Okay. I'm going to open the window. I'm going to mute myself for a second, guys. Okay, I have the window ready for you. This is a person I respect. Her name is Heben Girma, and country of France made her a knight just recently. Okay, and let me show you her video so you know what I'm talking about.
My name is Haben Girma, and I have 3 disabilities. I can't see, I can't hear, and I can't speak French. The fact that France is giving me this honor shows how deeply Braille is treasured there. Braille with...
Okay, Braille was invented in France, so she goes on to say that. And the story of how it came about. And I've shared this link, so it's a good thing. You can see that right here, right? Okay, this is the point I wanted to show you because and I just want to respect the time.
Our voice, our future. Today's AI technology is undervaluing disabled wisdom. If I take a picture of a page of print with ChatGPT, ChatGPT can read it. If I take a picture of a page of Braille, ChatGPT will fail. That's outrageous. This is not an engineering problem. This is a priorities problem. When we're building technologies, schools, libraries, and other institutions, advocate for accessibility, including Braille. I am so grateful to France for giving the world Braille and for celebrating Braille's continuing power.
Okay, so I wanted to share that because this is a person who's an influencer, and she cannot hear or read like Helen Keller. She can read, she cannot hear or see like Helen Keller. But she's written books. She's independent. She travels around, gives talks. I'm a huge fan of her, and she's advocating for Braille. And I realized that ChatGPT cannot read Braille. We take it for granted, right? We just take it for granted. And every time a new technology comes around, we have to not forget all the good things it was doing, all the systems that were in place. So when software engineering changed from engineers building it to AI, which machine learning with data, that was still providing accessibility support because you as UX designers out there were holding the fort for disability support. That fell off when it became models like GPT 5, GPT 4.4, or underlying models that was creating ChatGPT-like models, like chatbots, and that has to adapt again. So that is why we are in this continuous learning mode with technology industry, but we should not go backward one step and then come back. So this forward deployed engineers is a good step because we lost focus on customers, including disabled people. But I'm seeing, I don't know if it's my LinkedIn feed now prioritizing and showing me a lot of disability support and opportunities, but I'm seeing a lot of them, so I'm going to share them. Typically, I share this on my newsletter, so I'm going to go back before we close out to show you my newsletter back. Let me find that. Come on, come on. Where am I? So I think it should show up right on my profile for those of you. Okay. So we've been sharing jobs. LM is the person behind this who actually puts together my newsletter all month long. As I'm finding different jobs, I come and show you. So here is, so follow us here, right here, Limitless Newsletter. And I usually bring AI trends, but I focus a lot on opportunities. That's kind of my focus here, right? Right here. Here, I show some reading material. The main thing is on jobs. So I'm seeing a bunch of fellowships, which are regional based or specific application segment based. There is this applied data fellowship on public policy. There's the Africa fellowships in education industry specifically. Here is a fashion one, variety of different roles. And then there are, I think this one, the deadline has passed. There's a bunch of other fellowships. This is specific to specific countries or regions, things like that. And we spoke about this Hack Your Summer from DJ Patil that is still open for the next batch. It just started, I think this Monday it started for for this batch. The deadline June was for the first cohort. So this is a very good one. So there's a bunch of interesting one. There is this Women in Geospatial Rising is a very interesting one. I did not know that this is, got a whole bunch of scholarships. So I usually share this right here on the newsletter Limitless. So feel free to follow that. And I'm a big fan of Cohere with their AYA models, which are multi-lingual models, because one of the trends I'm seeing, so we spoke about forward deployed engineer, connecting back to the customers. And if you are the customer, if you're an enterprise, or if you're a product manager, how your job shifts, it's an opportunity. I see everything as an opportunity. If you're trying to get into AI, or if you're already in AI, if you have data knowledge, if you have business knowledge of your industry, here's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I can bring a forward deployed engineer to my company, or I'm seeing a forward deployed engineer come in. How does my role contribute to this? How do I help my business, my role, my career to do something useful? We are getting to a place where it's application focused, very industry focused, a lot of different fellowships, lot of different, I'm not seeing grants per se, but I'm seeing fellowships. And I'm seeing a lot of summer camp like activities. So that, I believe, is a good thing. So I think, especially for those of you who are looking to enhance your careers or you're changing jobs, I think that's a good thing. I actually saw one more thing I wanted to share. Let me find this. Talking about Braille, I found one more person who is, again, I want to see whether I can share the screen, because I'm not used to this name spelling and I don't want to make a mistake. This is UT Bemfon Edward, and who's a ASL interpreter, who is basically saying, bringing about how to bring sign language to medicine. Of course, we need sign language in medicine, but we are not thinking about this. So now when LMV should showcase her in our next newsletter, and then link to people who are interested in talking to her and following her work. And so here's another example. So I'm seeing a lot of inclusion happening in AI. in building AI. So one is to get AI to work usefully for different industries. So it's not just industries, to different segment of users. So I want to leave you with this one note. If you are in the enterprise, think about how to make it useful if you're using AI. If you are thinking about, okay, how can I build my career? How can I use technology, apply technology in a meaningful way? Of course, you can follow my newsletter and see any of the fellowships or opportunities, whether it's relevant for you, that's great. But in your current role, think about, have you left behind any segment of users? Like I was talking about the Braille users, I was talking about sign language and people who need ASL or any other sign language in the world. Have you left behind those people? Have you dropped something in a hurry to push AI forward? Have you left people behind? Is that something that I think the trend is now people are not talking about AI ethics as like, okay, AI ethics and AI is doing bad only. People are hungry to just pick things and just move forward and make a change. And I believe each one of us has that in your role. If you're a designer, are you still providing all the disability support that you did as a UX designer in the past? So I'm talking to some UX designers and people who have taken my AIX course, because I have an AIX designing AI course on LinkedIn. Then think about the disability support. Are you doing that? So the inclusion is how we thought about it in the past, when we were talking about AI ethics in the machine learning world. I think we've come to a place where we want to make AI work for everyone. And then in the next round, when we meet, I will talk to you about how AI has going past industries. Now it's going to different segment of users. Now it is going to a different area with linguistics, and I have a book coming up there. But I want to talk about LLM, because LLM is the foundation. Machine translation in LLMs is the capability. I've spoken about that. I've taught that in my classes, but I want to pick that up on how do you add language support for various languages, and how can you make LLM more inclusive, and how is that happening with a humanities lens, with a linguistics lens, social sciences, and bringing that research into the world of AI. So in summary, I'm seeing this forward deployed engineer is just a trend to move the engineers sitting focused inward on building more math-oriented models without any reality of the world, while the promise is the world. And to bring it out to different parts, to get the people from various parts of the world saying, do you need it? So when a person is like Hebam is talking about, hey, give me Braille support because I know to read and write and publish books. Don't just make AI read things loud for me. So that's an example of disability support for visually impaired added by just reading out stuff. I don't want anyone reading things for me. I want to read my own books and article. So why should a visually impaired person not do that? That is how we should think about every segment, and we need to hear from people. And so I want to leave you with this thought. From your current role, whatever you do, is there a segment of users that you've just assumed you know them and you've built for them? And lot of tech does not have even inclusion for enough women. And I can tell you a lot of frustration I feel on assumptions made about me, for me, with every possible technology out there. So think about it. What segment are you leaving behind? How can you make AI really useful for somebody, anybody that you care about? And again, it brings it back to making it useful. If it's not useful, it's just, costing compute, and it's not going to enhance your career. And, we are at a place where we can make technology work for everyone, at least work for someone that you choose, so that we can go towards a positive direction. So with that, I want to wrap up. If you're following Business School of AI on LinkedIn, or if you go to Business School of AI online, you can find Weekly Wed, and I will see you back in Weekly Wed in 2 weeks. And I want to hear from you what other topics you would like to see, and we can continue our conversation. So thank you, everyone. Stay safe. I'll see you again next month. Bye. With that, I'm going to close out our live stream.